you're feeling like, gosh, man, sometimes I just feel like I'm in this systems crash. I know exactly where you're coming from because that's exactly where I was. Burnout is a real thing, and it's a thing that can be avoided with the right direction. Are you taking action that actually fits your lifestyle? Or are you trying to be on some cookie cutter diet and something that doesn't work? Figure out what direction you're gonna take. It's about building a personal system for real lasting transformation. Hi everyone, it's Eric, and today I wanted to take you behind the scenes, give you a behind the scenes look at, even though I've had all the fitness credentials and everything, I still felt very stuck, frustrated and completely burnt out with nutrition, with wanting to exercise, just completely burnt out. So we're gonna go behind the scenes. So let me take you through it, okay? I was a college athlete. Okay. Always trained hard and kicked butt and all the different stuff. I was a bodybuilder and a trainer. And from the outside, I looked like success, right? But I could kind of feel something going. I could kind of feel that I was losing my luster or something like that. I felt stuck. I knew I was stuck and I knew I was going. And a lot of us, I think we feel this way. We feel stuck and we don't know how to start. Now, in my programs and all the things I've built, I also create systems that you can catch yourself when you feel stuck. But we're going to get to that. But at that point in time, I was just internally stuck in like these cycles. Okay. And you probably feel that way sometimes where you feel stuck in these cycles and you can't get moving. You can't get started. You can't change it. So I had a complete loss of confidence. And I was in incomplete physical and mental burnout. So it was hard to do the regular things, hard to go to the gym, hard to be motivated, hard to be motivated to eat right, hard to portion my food the right way. So all of these things that I normally do, all these things that were easy to me, that were part of my system, okay, all of a sudden it was system failure, system crash. So if you're at home and you're feeling like that and you're feeling like, gosh, man, sometimes I just feel like I'm in this systems crash. I know exactly where you're coming from because that's exactly where I was. So I had discipline. So to say I didn't have discipline, that's probably not fair. And probably to say that you don't have discipline is not fair. But I didn't have direction. So I had discipline, but didn't have direction. And that made all the difference in the world. And that's probably making all the difference in the world for you right now. And I completely understand that. It's like, man, gosh, how can I not get myself going? And it's not lack of discipline. It's just not. It's just finding the right direction and moving in the right path at the right time, at the right speed. Okay. Because we don't want to jump from not doing anything into I'm doing everything. So that's not really a great system. So that's the biggest thing, is feeling burnout and feeling the sense of burnout and what you're going to do with that in a sense of almost panic. So you're almost creating anxiety from what you know you should be doing and what you're not doing. So that's how we create a system. And I'll tell you how I came out of it. And for me, it was kind of like the moment it snapped for me and negatively was just, I was like, man, you know what? I'm physically exhausted because I'm trying to do too much, physically exhausted. And I was trying to have perfect nutrition. At one point in my life, I want to talk about something that feels so crazy bananas, is that I was eating tuna fish and green beans. So I would make this huge vat of tuna fish and green beans. So I'm like, I got to be lean. I got to get ripped. Tuna fish and green beans. After a while, I was just like, this sucks. This is so hard. I've made fitness not fun, but a chore and difficult. And it was mental defeat. I felt defeated and I had almost given in. So at this point, it was like an identity crisis for myself because this isn't who I was. I'm always motivated. I'm always fit. And if I'm fit, I'm confident and I'm going to be successful in each area of my life. So if you're feeling that way, I completely understand because, gosh, I went through it myself. So how could I coach others when I couldn't coach myself was like the whole topic in my head. How are you going to coach other people if you can't coach yourself? Proof's in the pudding, right? It's like you wouldn't go, okay, I'm going to, maybe I might not hire an overweight trainer. And that's what I felt like. I felt like phony and fake and false. And it just was not a good system for me, just because I was burnt out because my system was off and my direction wasn't the right way at the right time, doing the right things with the right oomph. Okay. Right purpose and things like that as well. But we'll go through that more. But understanding turning inward instead of looking for another surface level answer. That's what I'm saying here is why am I having these problems? What's going on with my behavior? I didn't like to eat pizza so much that it consumed me, that I had a lack of confidence, because I'll take the confidence over the pizza any day. Okay. I mean, and I'm sure you're like that too. And you're successful in other areas of your life. So why not be successful at this one? Well, sometimes it's the moment when it's just snapped, when you've just had enough and you say, F it. We all know what that means, right? Okay. Just you've had enough. So we don't want to go to that whole point. We want to have the right idea of what's going on. So at that point in my life, I was like, okay, if I'm struggling with this, and I was an athlete and a trainer and went to school for these things and all these certifications and stuff, and nutritional degrees and certifications and things like that, what's other people doing? Okay. So that's when I started to build the blueprint method. So the blueprint method is like this surefire way behaviorally how to attack everything, from purpose to goals, to realistic goals, time-based goals, to what was the reason why I was put on this earth? Why do I need to be on this earth? And, then realize true transformation. Then I was like, wait, this stuff's easy. I just made it too hard. Okay. And every time I couldn't do it, it was lacking. Oh, you're not disciplined. You're not this. So starting to beat myself up, and that just doesn't work. So the transformation wasn't just physical. It was way more than that. It was psychological. So that's where the blueprint method comes in, this psychological transformation. And what I needed to do is I created the 4 core pillar system. Okay. And that's problem, solution, action, and accountability. Because I recognize every situation of high achievers, people that achieve the most in their life, they don't achieve it because they're the most creative people in the world. Okay. Some of them are very creative. Some of them are super intelligent, but most of them lack, most of them are lacking some of the same things that we have, but what they have is consistency. And they're mapping things out. And what they have is, when they know there's a problem, they're problem solvers. They know there's a problem. They put a solution with the problem. They find an action, and then they find a way to keep that action in place as often as possible. It sounds simple. I get it. It sounded simple to me, and I knew it was as simple, but putting in a way for people to achieve huge, humongous things was exactly what we had to do. So a problem, identify the root issue. What's really going on? You didn't gain 100 pounds because you love pizza. There's a root issue that's happening either from your childhood, from somewhere, some traumatic effect. So the mindset, the belief, or the behavior keeping me stuck. What's keeping me stuck, man? And that's the problem, right? What's keeping me stuck? So that's what we're going to find out in the problem. And it's not just workouts or diets. I mean, come on, it's got to be so much more than that. It's not that you don't have a lack of discipline. You just have your direction is not the right place in the right time. So we're going to identify the problem so that we can put it into the correct direction, and the direction is going to be a deep solution. Okay. Create a clear personal blueprint. Okay. Now we get into the blueprint, not a cookie cutter plan, one that works for every single person, because that can't work. There has to be personal things about you that you're finding out about yourself and how you're going to overcome those things. Has to be that. So it's got to be based on what my life okay? And goals truly require. What my life and goals truly require. Like, what do I need? So if it's food, I need food and water to exist, right? So what do I need for my mind to truly exist? I think that's the biggest thing. And that's the solution. That's what we go over in the blueprint method is. What is that deeper solution that we're going to find? And we have to attack that solution. So then after that, we're going to take the action. So we're going to take an aligned, okay, consistent action that fit my reality, not my perfectionism. Okay. So I'm a perfectionist and an all or nothing person. It's very dangerous. So I have to be careful that I just don't go where I'm eating green beans and tuna fish again. That was okay. I can be perfect and look very good. If I eat these things sooner or later, I just burn myself out, just like I did before. Okay. Burnout is a real thing. And it's a thing that can be avoided with the right direction. Now we're back to direction instead of discipline again. So I want you to remember this. So if you're listening to this and say no, I just don't have the right direction for myself right now. Not I'm a lack of discipline, therefore. So for me, I was raised by a very tough father who was discipline. You've got to be disciplined and you've got to want it. So that was a button for me. If I couldn't do it sometimes, that I'm not disciplined, I don't want it, and I'm lazy or whatever the case may be. And for me, that was a trigger. So I realized that was part of my root problem. And as the root problem, we don't want to have those, as a person that worries about what the root problem is, we got to figure out how to have success. So we got to take the right action. So it's not just as simple as, remember, I'm saying take the right action, not just take action. Okay. What is the right action for you? Well, for me, the right action was to be scheduled to do things that I love, to I enjoy, that I were passionate about, and finding a new way to be passionate about things, looking forward to things. We'll go into more of that, but that's kind of the gist of it. What do you love to do, and what will you do on a regular basis, and when and what time and where will you do them? Okay. Accountability. Okay. Nobody talks about this. You're going to slip. Everyone slips back from their action. Everybody. You're on it, right? It's easy to do things when you're on it, but what happens when you're not? In order to stay on it, you need a system of accountability. You need accountability people that are in your life that help you, and so on and so forth. So we need to build a system and supported structure, okay, and keep me moving forward, and when the motivation wore off. So this is a system that's going to keep you from it wearing off, and gosh forbid when it does wear off, that man, you got a system for getting right back on it. So the difference between beginner and advanced, okay, in this setting is how quickly you get back on your workouts, thinking the right way, in positive thoughts, empowering thoughts, how you're going to empower yourself. So a beginner person says, F it, doesn't train for a month, a year, 2 years. An advanced person, gosh, they have a bad half a day and they're back on it. They eat something bad and they're doing extra workouts to do that, and they're coming back from it. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to go from beginner to advanced, if that makes sense. So we got to have the right direction. We got to have it. Okay. So once I tackled these mentally and emotional, my body, my energy, my confidence all followed. Bam. All of a sudden I'm like, man, this is who I am. This is who I was supposed to be, who I got lost along the way. We all do. We all get lost along the way. But if we have a system to get back on track fast, we're not going to fall for long. I hope that makes sense. The whole idea is to not fall off for long, okay? And to understand who you are and what you need. So from struggling to strong, okay? Helping others build their blueprint. So here's what was cool for me. My whole life, I was so passionate about helping people. That's all I want to do with my life. Just want to help as many people as possible. So I founded the fitness retreat and applied the blueprint method at scale. So, and the blueprint method had evolved into what this amazing system is now. It wasn't that from the beginning. We were just applying principles and more principles and more principles and more ways to help people and adding to the amazing system it is now. So we have been lucky enough to help. We've helped Olympians, celebrities, entrepreneurs, but most importantly, everyday warriors like me and like you. Okay? Taking these principles that have worked for these famous people and give them to you and show them how to do it so that you can live the best life you possibly can, so that every day is a gift. Okay? So we just don't want to help you lose weight. That's the biggest thing. Please take the thing. This is not about weight loss. And that's what we've been teaching at the retreat for all these years. People say, "Oh, I'm here to lose weight." You're not here to lose weight. You're here to change how you think. The weight will come once we can do that. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because I have seen so many people transform when they transform their mind. So that's the biggest thing. So why this story should matter to you? Because if you're stuck right now, okay, and if you're feeling, man, I feel stuck like he was. I get it. It's not because you're broken. And then maybe sometimes I did feel kind of broken. But it's because no one has ever really given you the blueprint yet. They've been giving you the system, and you haven't lived the system in the steps to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, how you're going to be successful and how you're going to keep the weight off and make every day a gift. So that's pretty much the thing is, so you already have the strength because you apply it either with your kids, you apply it with your family, you apply it with your job, you apply all these things. You just need the right system for you and your health and your mental behavioral strength, and find these things and do these things at the right times and how to do them when and where and with whom and all these things that we're teaching. So I want you guys, if you could, I want you to reflect. I want you to reflect on what the real problem is that you have not addressed. So right now, I mean, if you even want to close your eyes, I know that's kind of cheesy, but if you even want to close your eyes and focus on what the real problem is that you haven't addressed yet. Okay? Just think about that for a second. What is the real problem you haven't addressed? Okay. What would your solution, okay, look like if it was built around your real life? So let's think about that for a second. What would your solution look like if it was built around your real life? Your individual life, not someone else's, not someone cookie cutter stuff. Your life with your family, with your job, with your time frame. What does the solutions look like to you? Okay. Are you taking action that actually fits your lifestyle? Are you taking action that actually fits your lifestyle? Or are you trying to be on some cookie cutter diet and something that doesn't work, that doesn't register with you, or makes you binge eat or feel deprived, or whatever the case may be? It doesn't have to be about a diet, because this stuff isn't about a diet. It's about empowering yourself. And again, who is holding you accountable at the highest level? Who's your coach? I've been a coach for many people, very successful, because everyone needs a coach. Tom Brady, the most successful quarterback of all time, had coaches, many, and some of them fantastic. You need the right coach to get you to where you want to go, to get every day to be a gift, if that makes sense. It's important to understand that every day is a gift, and if it doesn't feel that way right now, we've got to build it that way. Okay, so I want to invite everybody to my free masterclass, okay? If you're ready to stop guessing and finally build your own blueprint for your best life, okay? Join me in this free masterclass. It's called Slim Without Sacrifice. So it's the idea that I don't have to sacrifice everything, but what if weight loss was easy? What if we were empowered and it was the right thing and we felt amazing about ourselves and that every day is a gift. That's kind of the whole thing, and that's kind of what we're saying. So I'll walk you through the full system step by step so you can take control mentally, physically, and emotionally. Okay? So very important. So there's going to be a link for you to register. We'll throw that up here so that you can kind of check us out. Okay. You can also go to fitculture.com. All of our stuff is on fitculture.com. And you can see when the next, when our next free masterclass is. We do them, sometimes. So when's the free masterclass? Or, the idea is to take advantage of this and you can learn about it now once we're on it, once we're kind of ready to make that. So quick highlight. Okay. The blueprint method isn't about hacks or temporary motivation. So if that's you and you're thinking about quick fix and temporary motivation, I'm sorry, it just won't be for you. It won't work because it's not BS. It's got to be about long-term, about empowering your body, changing how you feel, how you live and stuff. So it's about building a personal system for real lasting transformation. So if that's what you're interested in, then it's right for you. So hopefully today, I'm just telling you some things I struggled with, okay? And a lot of I struggled with was extreme, gotta be fit, gotta be lean, this gotta look this good to feel confident. And my system was off even though I knew better. So I just don't want you to go through the same thing. So that's why I've created the blueprint, a method for you so that you can understand, gosh, it doesn't have to be so hard. So I really look forward to people coming to the masterclass. So if you can get to the masterclass, learn something more, and figure out what direction you're going to take. So remember, it's about the right direction, taking the right direction. I feel so privileged that I get to do this in every day of my life and help people. And if you're watching this, thank you so much. And I love and appreciate you guys so very much. And I look forward to the next one. And hopefully if you like this podcast, you'll watch a couple more or listen to them on your own time. And I'll see you later. My name's Eric. Take care. Bye-bye.